Hi! Wow, you're here! This is amazing! Thank you very much for taking the time off of your busy day to attend this webinar. We love you for that. And welcome to the webinar on Getting Started with Workplace. Today, we're going to take a look at how to get started with Workplace. And I'm going to walk you through the process of setting up Workplace for your organization and introduce you to all the productivity apps bundled in your Workplace subscription. My name is Miles Vivek, and I'm a user educator in Zoho, and I help customers like you learn Zoho products and make the best out of them. And I will be the host for this webinar. This webinar will run for 45 minutes, and this is a pre-produced webinar, and that is a good thing because while this is going on, I will be available in the webinar chat room to take your questions. So you don't have to wait until the end of the webinar to ask your questions. Woohoo! So just go ahead and simply post your questions in the chat and I will answer them. And even if you don't have any questions, what's wrong with just saying hi? Just let me know where you're from and I would like to talk to you beautiful people. And in today's webinar, as promised, I am going to tell you a story of an organization that deployed and used Zoho Workplace to transform the way their employees communicate, collaborate, and create content, which naturally helped them get work done faster. And I believe from this story, you can learn how you can use Workplace in your organization to get things done. Who wouldn't like to get things done? So, what's in this webinar for you? By the end of this webinar, you'll get to know what is Workplace and the list of apps it comes with, the nature and specialty of each app, how do you deploy Workplace in an organization, in which I will walk you through the process of choosing the right subscription plan for your business, domain registration, email configuration, and this will help you kind of get started with Workplace having done all the essential and foundational steps. And then we'll move on to a demonstration of all the Workplace apps in which at least one core function of each app will be used in a real-world business scenario. So you can see each Workplace app in action and understand their core functionality. So by the end of this webinar, you'll have an excellent understanding of what is Workplace and how you can use it in your organization to improve the overall productivity. So no doubt, this webinar will help you get to know Workplace better. But at the same time, I'd like to use this opportunity to get to know you better. Ultimately, I'm trying to understand what is it that you guys are trying to do with Workplace, in what ways are you trying to use the app so I can help you succeed in doing that. That's my job, and I freaking love my job. So during the session, here and there, I'm going to be asking you some questions through polls. And all you have to do to help me help you is simply answer these questions. All right? Let's start with the first question. How many of you are aware that you have subscription to Workplace, which gives you access to 9 different productivity apps? Because I did run into some users who had no idea about the apps they have access to in their Workplace subscription. So please go ahead and let me know in the poll, and that will help me understand the kind of users I'm dealing with and thus create relevant content. And now, before we get into the story, let's start with the obvious question. What is Workplace? Zoho Workplace is a bundle of 9 different productivity applications. The apps are built to enhance the 3 primary factors that determine an organization's productivity: communication, collaboration, and creativity. Communication. Zoho Workplace empowers you with communication tools using which you can bridge the communication gaps within your organization and even outside your organization. Zoho Mail will be your ad-free business email using which you can communicate with anyone with an email ID, inside or outside your organization. Zoho Mail provides the foundational communication framework for your team. It also comes with an integrated calendar, contacts, notes, and task applications, which makes it more than just a mailbox. Zoho Click will be your team communication software using which your employers can chat in real time to cut down on delays. They can have group chats, make audio and video calls, so everyone in your organization will just be a click away from each other. Get it? Click away? Zoho Sites will allow you to create beautiful websites and blogs for your products and services, and Zoho Sites can be the face of your organization to the outside world. Sites will enable you to communicate on a larger scale as an organization to a broader audience through websites. Collaboration. To make it easy for the members of your organization to seamlessly collaborate with each other in a variety of different ways, Workplace gives you Zoho Connect, Docs, and Showtime. Zoho Connect enables what is known as social collaboration in your organization. It works based on the technologies and concepts used in social media, so your employees will find it easy to learn and adapt to the new platform. They'll be able to form groups, collaboration channels, discover and consume information through feeds, get help and provide help to solve problems, etc. Zoho Showtime will make the knowledge sharing process in your organization much easier and efficient by enabling collaborative training options. Showtime can be used to train employees to acquire new skill sets, learn business processes and tools. So through Showtime, you can provide online training to anyone, including your clients and partners who are not part of your organization. And Zoho Docs will offer contextual collaboration for your organization through file sharing. You can share files with individuals, groups, and even the entire organization and collaborate with them in real time. It also provides a centralized, safe, and accessible place for your organizational data with access controls, so your employees will always have access to the latest data. Creativity. And finally, to give everyone in your organization the ability to create, be it content, reports, or business proposals, Workplace provides you with a complete online office suite using which your employees can create documents, spreadsheets, and presentations online. Your employees will have an excellent experience in writing, number crunching, and presenting ideas, which will keep them motivated to be more creative. So in a nutshell, Workplace provides everything your organization needs to form a tightly connected workforce that is well equipped to boost productivity and collaboration. So now that we're on the same page in terms of what is Workplace, you go ahead and let me know, what is it that you're expecting to do using Workplace? Are you trying to improve the communication within your organization or enable collaboration, or what is it? Knowing this will help me help you achieve whatever it is that you're trying to do. So now let's start the story. The story is about an organization called Zilker Games. They make brain training mobile games. Their recent game, Zilk Your Brain, can be played every day to train your cognitive skills, such as memory, attention, emotional intelligence, that kind of stuff. And it is a great success. They're getting around 1,000 downloads a day, which is huge. And there are 3 teams in Zilker who make the magic happen. The first team consists of the CEO, CSO, and the marketing managers. Now, these are the people who come up with ideas for new game products. Let's call them the Eureka team. Now, once the Eureka team finalizes an idea, it will be sent to a team of designers, programmers, and developers who will materialize the idea and build the game. Let's call them the development team. Now, there's also a team of educators and content writers who create educational content for each game. Now, they also work on the content for the marketing purposes for the Zilker brand. Let's call them the content team. The development and the content team works together until the beta version of the game is ready, and then sends it to the Eureka team, who will review and launch the game. The game goes out, money flows in, everyone's rewarded. But this is not as easy as it sounds. Now, despite having a skilled workforce, their productivity isn't up to the mark. Projects aren't completed on time, and even after they had put in extra hours and worked over the weekends to get things done, it's still getting delayed. Ideas weren't taken off. Even the ideas that took off took too long to materialize. And in the gaming world, if something takes too long to ship, it just won't. So the Chief Strategist Officer, Vanessa Brown, realized that something needs to be done before things get worse. So Vanessa decided to change things, starting with their productivity tools. And you guessed it, she found out about Zoho and contacted us to see how Workplace can help. And that's where I came into the picture. I sat down with Vanessa, understood the structure of their organization and the way they communicate and how they work together on projects. Then I explained what are all the ways and areas Workplace can be used in Zilker Games. Vanessa liked my suggestion and decided to give Workplace a shot. So we worked out a deployment plan, which is a simple 3-step process. Step 1, signing up for Workplace. Step 2, user onboarding. And step 3, setting up Zoho Mail. And that's it. Once we set up Zoho Mail, the rest of the apps in the Workplace suite will automatically configured and will be ready for use. So we pulled up our sleeves and took the first step. And to help us with the deployment, Vanessa brought in Simba, who is their IT admin. And just by looking at the way he was interacting with me, I realized that he wasn't quite fond of the idea of them switching to Zoho. But anyway, we initiated the sign-up process. We started from zoho.com/workplace, where we can sign up for Workplace. I showed them the 3 different subscription plans, Standard, Pro, and Enterprise, and asked them which plan they wanted to go with. And Simba asked me to compare the plans to help them understand the difference. So I explained to him that each plan comes with a set of features, and as we go up the subscription, the features of the lower plan will be carried over. I told them if they were unsure of which plan to choose now, they can start with the free plan and then upgrade later on, because you can upgrade or downgrade your subscription anytime, no questions asked. Vanessa wanted to go with the standard plan, but then Simba stopped us and started asking questions. Because not only is he the IT admin of the organization, he's also Indian. And we Indians love to ask questions before spending our money. That's not racist, because I'm Indian, so I can totally say this, right? Basically, Simba asked me questions that new users frequently ask, which I was happy to answer anyway. He asked, what is Zoho, first of all? Valid question, for which I answered, Zoho, simply put, is an operating system for your business. Zoho includes more than 40 different applications on which you can run your entire business on. There is a Zoho app for every aspect of your business process, be it reaching customers, growing sales, balancing books, work in productive and collaborative ways. Whatever it is, Zoho has got you covered. He was impressed and asked me, how secure is their organizational data going to be in Zoho's servers? For which I answered with Zoho's security policy. I explained the physical security, network security, people process, redundancy and business continuity, security certification, and vulnerability reporting. He was convinced and gave us the go-ahead. So we chose the standard plan and were taken to the domain registration page. And as you know, Zoho Workplace provides business services that are domain-based. You can have your website and your email hosted for your domain. So I asked him if his organization has a domain already, for which he answered with a question. Why should we even have a domain-based email system? What's wrong with having an ID that ends with gmail.com or hotmail.com? I had to explain to him the importance of having a domain-based email. I went like, well, your domain is your online brand, your presence on the internet. When your customers or prospects see your domain in your email ID, they'll definitely know that your email is not a spam. It helps establish credibility and legitimacy by showing that you invest in your business, and it will make you look at par with large professional organizations. Besides, username availability in free email addresses are rare, so you'd have to settle for long and confusing user IDs. Having your own domain-based email will allow you to have unique and memorable IDs. So it just simply makes it easy for others to email you and remember your website. Upon hearing that convincing answer, he shot another question at me. He said, let's say we have a domain, then how would I map it to Zoho? For which I answered with, well, the domain should be the one you already own and have access to the DNS records. You will have to verify the ownership of the domain before proceeding with the other steps. Now, he replied with, no, we don't have a domain. So we proceeded with registering a new domain with Zoho. And I didn't forget to mention the fact that when you register your domain with Zoho, it is automatically configured for use with workplace apps like Zoho Mail and Zoho Sites. And the domain verification, MX records, and all of that stuff are automatically set up, which will save you a lot of time and make your email and website hosting hassle-free. So we selected the buy a new domain for my business option, checked if the zilkergames.com domain was available, and it wasn't. We were confused because, first of all, Zilker Games is such a unique brand, so it must be available. But it is possible that some domain squatters could have registered it, or maybe someone in this organization have registered and probably forgotten about it. But fortunately, today, there are multiple domain extensions available besides .com. So I suggested them to try some alternate TLDs. Top-level domains, or TLDs, consist of a variety of domain extensions like .online, .net, .org, etc. So if the domain you want is not available with .com, you can go with a wide range of extensions like .org, .net, .biz, and so on. Vanessa, however, was very concerned about losing the ZulkerGames.com domain because it could be misused for spamming and things like that. And this kind of made her panic, and she wanted to register as much as TLDs for the Zulker Games brand as possible to kind of protect the brand's online existence. Now, this is what's known as defensive registration. Now, although it appeared to be a good idea, I recommended her not to go on a domain registration spree and register only the TLDs that could be useful for them now. Because TLDs usually contain some meaning or association to them, and we have to put them to use accordingly. For example, .com is for commercial businesses, .org is for organizations, .store is for online stores. So we really have to understand the TLDs and use them based on their relevance. So I showed them some of the TLDs that are relevant to them, and she decided to go with the .online domain for now, and later on she wanted to register a couple of more TLDs. So we headed back to the sign-up page and chose the .online TLD, provided the details required for the domain registration process, and moved on to the next step. Now, before we get to the next step, I want to ask you this. Now that we have discussed TLDs in details, do you think your business could use a TLD? Do you think your business could use a .net or .org or any of the TLDs? Let me know in the poll, because if you do think it does, we're ready to give you a TLD for free. Yes, we'll give you a free domain with the extension that you think is relevant for your business. So go ahead and let me know your interest in the poll, and I will give you the instructions on how to get your free TLD by the end of the webinar. Now, back to our story. We successfully registered the domain, made the payment, and that was it. We had successfully completed step 1. So we moved on to step 2, which was user onboarding. For the next step, I asked Simba to do some preparation. I asked him to create a complete list of users who needed to be brought on board to Workplace, and the teams and the task forces who will be working together, because we were going to set up email IDs and passwords for each employee in Zulker Game, and also create user groups. So he came up with the list of user accounts, and also mentioned that some members of the Eureka team, the CEO, the CSO, and the marketing manager types, are already using an email system. So their email accounts, along with their email data, have to be migrated from their current email provider to Zoho Mail. And as far as the employees are concerned, they don't really have official email accounts, so we could just straight away go ahead and create new email accounts for them. We decided to create the new accounts first for the employees, and then take on the migration of the Eureka team members' email accounts. Now, the first thing we did was to create an email ID for the admin, who will be taking care of the workplace maintenance. And then we proceeded to create email accounts for each employees in Zulker Games. We created their email ID, password, and also made sure that each user changes the default password we're setting using the enforce password change option right here. During the setup, Vanessa added each employee's current email ID so they can be automatically notified about their new workplace email account along with the login details. Then we moved on to the next step and created user groups. The user groups can be used for a number of things in Workplace. For instance, in Zoho Mail, they'll act as a common email address shared by a set of users for a common purpose, like a distribution list. So when an email is sent to the group ID, a copy of the email will get delivered to all the individual members of the group. For example, in addition to the 3 teams in Zulker Games, Vanessa also wanted to create an email ID or a group for customer service, through which her customers can contact Zulker Games. She wanted few key employees from each team to receive the customer emails. So we decided to create a group for customer support. We started off by setting the group's email ID, setting the level of access, which determines who in the organization can access it. We then added moderators who can keep an eye on the group members and the emails. We added members to the group, and after the members were added, we gave a description to the group so new members could understand what this group is all about, and created the group. So now any email sent to this group ID will be delivered to all the members of this group. Now, after the group creation, we proceeded to the next step, which is configuring the email delivery settings. And since Zulker Games domain is registered with Zoho, they didn't have to worry about any configuration because it's automatically taken care of by Zoho. So we just cruised through the steps and stopped at the docs configuration part. Now, I explained to Simba that their workplace bundle comes with a document management system as well, which is Zoho Docs, and they can configure their organizational policies for document sharing right there if they wanted. They took a look at it and said the default settings looked fine, so we moved on to the next step, which is going mobile. Now, Zoho Mail in particular has multiple apps exclusively designed for administrators for administration on the go, and email apps for users to check the emails from anywhere, anytime. There are 3 different applications: the Zoho Mail app, the Zoho Mail Admin app, and Inbox Insight. The Zoho Mail app is used to check your emails on the go in the same way you check your email from your webmail. You can create or accept events, set up reminders, browse through your attachments, and much more with this app. The Zoho Mail Admin app is made for the admins. It lets you perform the basic control panel functions from your mobile device. And the Inbox Insight app makes sure that you don't miss out on important emails. This search-based email app lets you search for specific emails and also saves you searches for future references. All of these apps are available for both Android and iOS platforms. Now, I want to know how many of you have these apps installed on your mobile device, because I really want to know how many of you are taking advantage of these mobile apps. So let me know in the poll. Now, back to our story. Vanessa downloaded the Zoho Mail app and Simba downloaded the Zoho Mail Admin app, and we were ready to move on to the next step, in which we will be migrating all the email data from Vanessa and her other Eureka team members' email accounts to the newly created Zilker Zoho Mail system. And for this, we needed the help of our email migration wizard, Sharath. Fortunately, their current email system supported IMAP access, so Sharath was able to perform a server-to-server migration via IMAP, and after all the email data was migrated, we asked Vanessa to check her new mailbox in Zoho Mail. And Vanessa loved it. The way one can quickly compose emails, add contacts, view conversations, the options to add tasks, take notes, calendars, streams, the usual superstar features of Zoho Mail impressed her without a doubt. And she also started exploring the other apps available in her workplace by going to the Z icon in the left top corner of the page, which will list options to switch to any workplace app from any workplace app. While Vanessa was happy with everything we've done so far, she mentioned that she does miss using a desktop client for emailing like she did in her previous email system. So I asked her to download the Desktop Lite client for Zoho Mail, using which she can access Zoho Mail on her desktop, and she doesn't have to always rely on her browser. So right about this time, Zilker Games was ready to use Workplace. So I wished them good luck and took off with another successful deployment story in hand. And I was going to check up on them a week later to see their progress anyway. But before I could leave the building, I was stopped by a nervous Vanessa. She told me about an issue that had just come up. It looks like they have started receiving emails from their customers saying some of them are finding it hard to complete certain levels in the game, and they wanted some sort of help or walkthrough. So Vanessa wanted my help in creating a website using Workplace in which the player's guide can be made available for the players to download. I agreed to help with this project since this would be a great opportunity for me to help the teams in Zilkers get started with using Workplace apps. So we pulled up our sleeves and took up Project Player's Guide. Now the plan was to create a player's guide with instructions on how to complete each level of the game, and build a website for Zilker Games using Workplace and publish the player guide on the website for the customers to download or to view and access. Vanessa first wanted to show some of the emails she had received from the customers to a few team members who were responsible or who are responsible for the ease of use and the playability of the game, so they could understand which levels of the games the players were having trouble completing. Now, if this was her previous email system, she would have had to forward the emails one by one and create an email pileup in everyone's inbox. But instead, in Zoho Mail, now she can simply share the emails with them and have conversations around the email, social media style. Now, every email you receive or send in Zoho Mail can be shared with anyone in the organization. To share an email, you can scroll down to the comment section of the email and just @mention the person. But in this case, Vanessa wanted to share multiple emails, so we decided to share the entire folder in which the emails were stored. She added the members who were responsible for the easy playability of the game and gave them read permission and not the write permission, since these people are not the customer service team, and she just wants them to read the emails and not reply to them. So she gave them the read permission and shared it, and that was it. The added members were notified about the sharing, and they were able to view the emails the customers have sent and have discussions on what's supposed to be their next step. They were able to reply to each other comments, like each other comments to show appreciations. The discussion was productive, and they were able to make faster decisions. So this is what they've decided. They've decided to put together two task forces, Task Force 1 and Task Force 2. The Task Force 1 will have Tisha, the playability expert, who will work with the content writer Alia to ready the player guides. And the Task Force 2 will have Vanessa and Rhea, the marketing analyst, who will work on the content that needs to go on the website. Now, Rhea will work on the text content, and Vanessa will work with a graphic designer who can help with providing the logo, images, and other multimedia content that the website needs. So after the site is ready, we will add the player's guide and publish the website. So we started by focusing on Task Force 1. We wanted to first create a space where Tisha, Alia, and Vanessa can communicate instantly. Now here's where Zoho Click can help. Zoho Click is your workplace instant chat software. In Zoho Click, you can create channels which are like group chats. So we created a channel in Click named Task Force 1 and added Tisha and Alia to it. And Tisha and Alia started having conversations immediately. Now, having this real-time messaging app really helped them in a big way to kind of start discussing ideas, which makes me wonder, how many of you use messages or chat service at work? Like messages like chat, Google Talk, or Zoho Click, even Zoho Click. Just let me know in the poll, because I really wanted to know how many of you take instant chat seriously at work and how many are finding it useful. Now, back to our story. Now, we have Tisha and Alia communicating in real time in Zoho Click. They were sharing files and talking, planning their tasks out. So we left them to it, and we focused on Task Force 2. Now, the Task Force 2 had two tasks to complete. One, ready the text content for the website, and two, ready the multimedia content for the site. And Vanessa decided to work on the text content first, and she had Rhea who could help her with it. Now, Vanessa had to work along with her in developing the content, and their typical way of handling this type of situation, where you have multiple people having to work on text content, would be simply starting with Microsoft Word. Basically, one person will create a document, finish up their part, and send it over to the next person, and vice versa. Now, I'd like to know how many of you use Microsoft Word for your business documents, because we're going to be looking at a cloud-based word processing approach using Zoho Writer, which I believe is the best way to handle business documents. So you go ahead and let me know how many of you use Microsoft Word for work. Now, back to our story. I suggested them to use Zoho Writer instead of Microsoft Word. Now, Zoho Writer is your workplace online word processor, using which you can create and edit documents online anytime with anyone. And you can co-author documents in real time, review content, etc. So Vanessa created a document online in Writer, called it Website Content, wrote down the basic structure of the content that she wants Rhea to work on, and shared it with Rhea with read-write permission. Now, Rhea was notified about the sharing, and she got on the document immediately, and both Vanessa and Rhea were able to see each other's edits happening in real time. They were also able to have conversations with each other through the Click chat, which is integrated within Zoho Writer. And they were also able to communicate contextually by commenting on the content of the document itself. Now, Vanessa had to leave Rhea to finish up the rest of the content, and she moved on to focus on readying the multimedia content for the site. So she turned on track changes for the document, which will track all the changes that are happening on the document with colored markups, and they'll be added to the document only after Vanessa reviews and accepts them. So after this, Vanessa decided to get the images and graphics she'd be needing for the website. Now this is where the company's head designer can help. But unfortunately, the designer guy has taken his vacation and his phone is not reachable, so Vanessa needed to look for someone else who could help her with the multimedia content for the website. And she decided to find a graphic designer by making a post in Zoho Connect, which will announce her requirement to the entire organization. Now, Zoho Connect is your workplace social collaboration software, which can be used as your organization's own intranet. We could see that all Zilker Game employees have already joined Zoho Connect. They were making posts, which are appearing in Vanessa's feed. So Vanessa goes to the organization's wall in Zoho Connect, where if posted, the post will reach everyone's feed. She makes a post about what she's looking for, and soon enough, people started commenting on the post. And one particular designer named Vikram was ready to volunteer, and he seemed to be resourceful. So Vanessa decided to choose him for Task Force 2. And one of the first things she did was call him up on Zoho Click's video call and explain to him the type of images she needs for the website. And Vikram said he will get them ready as soon as possible. Now, let me ask you this. How many of you use or see video calls as an effective means of business communication? Do you think it's a good way to hold online meetings, or do you find it redundant and audio calls being adequate enough? Let me know in the poll. I want to know. Now back to our story. Vanessa needed a place where Vikram could upload all the images and share them with her. So she went to Zoho Docs, the online file storage and sharing system in Workplace. There, she can store all types of business documents, spreadsheets, presentations, images, videos, etc., and access them in any device at any time. So Vanessa created a folder in Zoho Docs account and shared it with Vikram. Vikram was able to see the folder in his Zoho Docs account, so Vanessa asked him to simply upload all the images and the videos he'd been asked to make for the website. Vanessa also downloaded and installed Zoho Docs desktop application in her computer, and this will allow her to keep a copy of all the files and folders in her local hard drive as well. Now, I would want to know if you use an online file storage system or a file sharing system for your business. Do you? Because if you do, I want to know. Back to the story. Now, while Vanessa was waiting for Vikram to send her images, she headed to the Task Force 1's Click channel to see what's up over there, what's happening over there. Now remember, Task Force 1 was formed to create the player's guide for the mobile game. Vanessa went through the conversation and she realized that they were facing some issues. The issue was that in order for Alia to write the player's guide, she needs to be trained on each level of the game. Now Tisha, the playability expert, can help here because she's the playability expert and she maintains all the documentation related to the game. But the only problem is that she was not available at office and she was at home. So there was no way for them to get in contact in a way that they'll be able to, Tisha will be able to train Alia on each level of the game. But we know fear when Workplace is here. I suggested them to use Showtime to tackle this problem. Zoho Showtime is your workplace online training delivery tool using which you can train people from anywhere at any time. So Tisha could easily train Alia online through Zoho Showtime so she could write content for the guide. So Tisha created the training session from her Showtime account, invited Alia, and got on a live training session. And Tisha broadcasted her voice and video, talked about each level of the game, and she also shared her desktop screen to show additional information about the game, all of which could help Alia in creating the player's guide for the game. Now, after the training was over, Alia was ready to roll. The player guide she is now ready to create must list instructions on completing each game level along with the number of XPs each player needs to level up. Now this information can be shown beautifully in a presentation deck. Now each slide dedicated to a game level with additional information. So Alia decided to create the presentation in Zoho Show. Zoho Show is your workplace online presentation tool using which you can create beautiful presentations online along with your team members. So Vanessa created a presentation online and shared it with Tisha and Alia. And they were able to edit and design the slides together in real time. Now, speaking of presentations, I'd like to know, how often do you create presentations at work? It could be for a talk, for presenting ideas, or even creating simple reports. How often do you create presentations? Now, back to our story. In addition to the player's guide that Alia was creating in Zoho Show, Tisha, the playability expert, also wanted to create an XP calculator, because each level of the game requires a certain number of XP points to be completed. So this XP calculator can be used by players to calculate what they need to do and how much they need to do to obtain the XPs. And the XPs are calculated based on two criteria: the time a player spends in each level and the number of puzzles and questions they deal with. So the calculator needs to calculate the values of these two criteria. And for this level of calculation, we can use Zoho Sheet, which is our online spreadsheet tool. We created a spreadsheet online in Zoho Sheet, dedicated each column for an XP criteria, applied the goal seek function, and a few other formulas that could calculate the XP. So all the player needs to do is simply type in the desired XP to find out how much time they need to spend and how many puzzles they have to solve to gain the desired XP, and vice versa. A complex calculation made simple by Zoho Sheet. Spreadsheets are awesome. Now, how many of you use spreadsheets in your daily work? Let me know in the poll. Don't ask me why I want to know it. I want to know it. Now back to our story. So we let Tisha and Alia do the final works on the player's guide and the XP calculator, and Vanessa got notified by Rare that she had completed the text content for the website. So Vanessa opened the writer document, and with a single click, she was able to view all the changes since her last visit. And Vanessa went through the content and she was happy with the content, and that gave her the confidence to actually go ahead and build the website. Now, before we get to the site building part of the story, I would like to know, how many of you own a website? Does your business require a website, or do you think it doesn't require one? Just let me know in the poll. I want to know. Now back to the story. Vanessa headed to Zoho Sites, which is an easy drag and drop website builder in your workplace. Now she gave a name to the site, chose a theme to go with, and started building the site. Now she was able to easily update the text content in the placeholders in the theme, and she was able to add components to the site by simply dragging and dropping them. And while she was customizing this with the website, she got notified by Vikram that he had uploaded all the image files that she had asked for into her Zoho Docs folder. So Vanessa checked her Zoho Docs folder on a desktop, and those files were available. So she uploaded all the files and the site started to take some shape. Now, Vanessa wanted to check up on the status of the player's guide presentation and the XP calculator to see how they're doing, so she can add it to the website. And they were marked completed. And here's where the beauty of integrated Workplace's integrated application or the integrated suite comes into action. In order to make the player's guide and the XP calculator available in the site, all she had to do is simply copy the HTML snippet from the presentation and also the spreadsheet and embed it or apply it in the website. The player's guide and the spreadsheet XP calculator will be automatically available on the site. Now, after a couple of alterations, she was ready to publish the website. The website took a nice shape, and she was able to publish the website with a single click because, like I said earlier, the domain registration process, the DNS records, and mapping are already done automatically by Zoho in the background. So she was able to publish the website with a single click, and that was it. Zilker Games' website was online with a beautiful player's guide that walks the players through each level of the game and an XP calculator that the players can use to calculate their XPs. And all was well. What would have taken them days to complete was completed in a matter of hours thanks to their Zoho Workplace. So that's how Zilker Games used Workplace to boost up their productivity. And I hope the story and the demonstration was informative for you to understand how you can use Workplace in your organization. Now, before we wrap things up, it'll be great if you can take a minute to fill up this short survey that I pinged you in chat, which has a set of very simple questions regarding the usefulness of this webinar. Your responses will be taken seriously, and it will help me improve the relevance and the usefulness of our webinars, so your next webinar experience could be much better. So please take your time and fill those up. And for those who wanted the free TLD domain, the option to opt for it will be provided in the survey itself. So please go ahead and choose that option in the survey, and we will enable the free TLDs for your account. So we're finally here at the end of the webinar. But this doesn't have to end here. If you have unanswered questions, if you want to access the recorded version of this webinar at any time, all you need to do is click the link I'm going to be sending you in chat right now, which will take you to the webinars forums in our workplace user community. Just hit the follow button for this forum and you will find the recorded version of this webinar as a post in which you can post your unanswered questions and you can view the webinar, and we can kind of continue the conversation over there. So you're doing two things here. One, taking the survey, and two, joining the webinars forum in our user community, both of which will help you make the most out of your workplace apps and help me help you make the most out of it. With all that said, it's time for me to end the webinar. Again, my name is Miles Vivek, and I would like to thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you soon in another webinar. Until then, bye-bye, stay off.